They got on the boards better. They made a couple big shots. We just did not finish around the basket. We've got to shoot better than that. And, Tyus can't really do it by himself. We've got to get him more help. We're just completely overmatched in the center spot now, no matter who's in there. And we have to play better at that position.
Jim, for a team like yours that gets to the line quite a bit, you haven't made a ton of free throws.
Well, we're not making anything. That's the bottom line. Very disappointing the way our big guys are playing. We missed some shots around the basket we can't miss in a game like this. And, we didn't make a play down the stretch. We had a chance. We missed a layup. Pascal had a tip, missed it. Elijah missed one around the basket. We just missed some shots so you can't miss and win games. We're not that good. We need to make those plays, and we can't miss 12 free throws.
Welcome to the Cuse Militia Podcast with those two unapologetically biased, orange-blooded homers, Sean and Joe.
All right, what's up, Cuse Nation? Thanks for tuning in to the Cuse Militia Podcast with Sean and Joe. If you like it, please share it. Make sure to hit that subscribe button. We really appreciate that. The universal handle for the socials is @Cuse Militia. We are the only show centered around giving the fans a platform, so welcome. It was not a good weekend for Orange fans. The revenge of the Stith in the second half as BJ Stith ended the first with 0 points and finished with his average of 18. We'll give you our thoughts on the 68-62 loss to ODU, and Buffalo heads back to the Dome for revenge. This Tuesday, December 18th at 8 o'clock. Can Cuse bounce back? They have an opportunity to bounce back. They could put this horrible game behind them with a win over Buffalo. We'll tell you what to expect there. But first, if you're watching sports and you're in fantasy leagues, it makes it more exciting. Everybody knows when you got a little bit of something to gain or lose off of some of these games, it makes it more exciting. So if you're not betting with MyBookie, you should head over there right now. Whether you're an expert or a rookie, you should be betting there. If you're the kind of guy or gal that likes to bet a little and win a lot, like playing numbers on roulette, you can create a big parlay. Pick 3 teams to win. If you hit all 3, you could turn $100 into $600. You can bet on pretty much anything under the sun over there. We've talked about that. MyBookie is one bet I know you'll be happy with all year. I recommend these guys because I really trust them. MyBookie has been in business for years. They've got great online reviews, and their mobile site is easy to use. Plus, if you ever see any articles when they're giving lines or they're giving props out or anything like that, a lot of them reference MyBookie. I see it all the time. So sign up this week, and MyBookie will give you a 50% deposit bonus to jumpstart your bankroll. It's a great way to bank even more money when you win. Also, make sure to follow them on Twitter at BetMyBookie. They personally respond to every mention in DM. Not to mention, they've given away more than $10,000 in free money to their followers this football season. You'll be the first to know as soon as new odds or props are posted. So log on to MyBookie right now and use the promo code CUSE25 and get the 50% deposit bonus. That's promo code CUSE25. You play, you win, you get paid. MyBookie. All right. Before we get into everything here, what we're going to do is there's a little tiny bit of news. Junior running back Abdul Adams and junior wide receiver Tristan Jackson, who both transferred over this past offseason, were deemed eligible to play in the Camping World Bowl December 28th. So that's pretty awesome. Both 4-star players coming out of high school. Right, Joe?
Yes, and they had to wait their year. They had a timely transfer because that's kind of how that works. You have to wait a full academic year when you enroll, and that's what, making a bowl game, that's what that allowed them to do. And because of the redshirt rule, they can still play, and it can count as a redshirt. And so it's not going to take away from any of their eligibility. And there was a lot of talk from about these guys, especially coming out of spring ball. And one of my buddies said he was the obvious. He looked like the best wide receiver out there in the spring game earlier in the offseason and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see how Dino Babers, or if he sprinkles them in, depending on the flow of the game, because he's going to want to get those seniors and the guys that kind of got him there at the time. So
a lot of it is going to depend on what's happening down the stretch, I think. And obviously what happens
I mean, I'll
happens in
tell you what, though.
practice?
They were 4-star guys. Abdul Adams
Exactly,
transferred from Oklahoma, 4-star out of high school. Tristan Jackson, he transferred from Michigan State, 4-star out of high school. And again, if they've been practicing and if they are, because they can practice, they just can't play.
Right,
So,
yeah.
and then now they have these practices during here. I mean, so you never know. I mean, if it's just known that they're that good and they can come in and win and nobody really cares that, they had to sit out and they really haven't been a part of this team as up to this point. I mean, if they can come in and they can help us win, then I don't know if Dino Babers is going to hold that back,
I don't think so. Not when it comes down to a W or a loss. So, defensive end Andrew Tuazama committed to Syracuse over the weekend. 6'6", 235 pounds. He's a 3-star. He had offers from Florida State, Miami, Maryland, and Ole Miss. And this comes pretty much just a couple days after the Babers extension was announced. I don't know if it's correlated or not, but maybe it did help him, jump in and fully commit. So, that's
he was the guy
news.
from last year. He academically didn't qualify, so he had to go to prep school. I think he went to Dry Prep. He's from Knightdale down here in North Carolina. 6'6", 235. He plays D-end and tight end. So, obviously, because of his weight, they might just try him out at tight end, and because he's young, but it seems to me like he's got the athleticism in the body to, put some weight on and possibly become a pretty good defensive end. So we'll see. Good athlete, though.
Yeah, exciting. So iTunes reviews. If you get him in, I've sweetened up the swag bag a little bit. I got some. Oh,
now it's the swag bag?
It's the swag bag. I'm not going to. Yeah, I found out there's already a Cuse crate. Well, it's actually called the Sarah Cuse crate. That's what it's called. Oh, yeah. So, anyways, I mean, I feel like a bonehead kind of calling it the Cuse crate still if it's, someone's already doing it. Like legit, right? So,
I mean, I knew that. I just wanted to wait till you figured that out.
Oh, sure you did. Sure you did. Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, okay, Joe, okay. Did you? Did you really? All right. So I've sweetened up the swag bag a little bit with I found out a way to do some cool stuff, man. So I got the Curse of Syracuse going on. I've got some Pearl tributes that I made that are with the Curse of Pearl and the 31. So I got some cool stuff, and hey, maybe I can make you a custom, your favorite player type thing too. So go to iTunes and give us a 5-star rating and a written review. If I read it on the show, then you win. You win. Winner, winner, winner. And all you got to do is email us at cusmilitia@gmail.com, and I can get that stuff
That's
out.
it.
So that is
Come
it.
on.
Hey, yeah, that's it.
Okay.
All right, so your recap in 2 minutes or less. Formerly the 1 minute recap, but I realized that is false advertising.
Yeah, you always go over a minute.
So, yeah. Well, I could keep it at right about a minute with football, but with basketball, it's just too much. It's just too much, man. Too much. So, that is brought to us by JP Mulligan's Happy Hour every Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 p.m. Trivia Tuesdays, every NFL game, every Sunday. And, of course, they play every Syracuse game. Wings. Go there. Hang out with other Cuse fans. Go there. Grab some swag. If Nick's working the bar, you can ask him if he's got any swag behind there for you, and he'll be happy to hand some out. Get some wings, get some beer, grab a burger. Great burgers there. So, anyway. All right, the Orange fall to 7-3 on the year, losing the first home game of the year, 68-62. The series with ODU sits at 2-2 now all time. Can you believe that? Syracuse was 22 for 34 from the line. Awful. 33.3% from the field. That's pretty bad. And 8 for 22 from 3. Not real good. I was more worried about this game, to be honest with you, than I let on, and justifiably so. As a bad mix of subpar offense and a pretty good ODU defense equaled a bad loss at home, no matter how you slice it, in my opinion. Battle was 5 for 14 from the floor with 11 for 15 from the line. He led Cuse with 23 points. Hughes again followed up the leading scorer, 4 for 9 from the field, and he finished with 15. And I just feel like with Hughes, he needs to shoot the ball more because he's actually hitting 43% on the year, and he's averaging 14 points a game. Chuku out there doing his thing with 0 points. Brissett, 3 for 11 field goals, 2 for 6 from deep, and 1 for 3 from the line. Brissett's got to tighten up on the foul shots. He finished with 9 points. I feel like Brissett is either on or off. and the majority of his shots should not come from outside the arc. I'm sorry. He's got to get in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Right.
you look at that too. When he came out and he made the first shot of the game. So
I know,
mean,
and it looked hot,
from there
right?
he was 1-5,
Sure.
right? So
Exactly. I'm waiting patiently waiting on Howard to have his breakout game of the season. He was 2 for 7 from the field. Both of those were threes. He totaled 9 points. BJ Stith won this game for ODU, coming back in the second half. We mentioned earlier in the beginning of the show, he scored 0 in the first half and met his average of 18 in the second. And, again, the Orange were out rebounded, not as bad as the last game against Georgetown that they actually won, but
Right.
38-33. And Syracuse did take advantage of 18 ODU turnovers, turning them into 22 points. But the lazy defense at the end of the game to close this out was a visual disappointment. It was they looked confused. They looked lackadaisical. The ball being brought up the court, killing clock, was killing me. I don't understand what happened when they lost the lead with about 5 minutes to go. From that point until the end of the game is a mystery. It was like ODU turned it on, and Syracuse had no clue how to take it, and they lost. They blew it. They blew the game. I knew it was over with 2 minutes left. They were just out of gas. Done. It was clear.
yeah. Well, I'm kind of glad I didn't get to see the second half. No, I'm playing. I went back and checked it out, and even it doesn't really take a rocket scientist when you look at these stats. I mean, they outscored us, 45-27, 45-29 in the second half. I mean, we can't allow teams to score 45 points in a half. So, again, I think it comes down to the fact that our offense still is not that good. It wasn't good last year, and we always talked about it last year, and we always talked about the things they need to do to make sure that they win.
Yeah.
And they're just not doing it. And it's, defense, rebounding, free throw shooting. We did win the turnover battle. I mean, when you look at those stats,
18. That's crazy.
They had 18 turnovers. We only had 13. They had 25 personal fouls. We only had 17. We went to the free throw line 34 times. We went to the free throw line 14 more times than them. Mm-hmm. So, we just have to be able to take advantage of that. I'd like to see the rebounds. Like you said, they weren't bad, but I'd like to be able to win the rebound. But that's really – it comes down to effort. And if it just – I don't know if they're just not playing defense because they're not making anything on offense and they're getting down on them. So, I just don't understand.
I don't know. It just looked like it just – I don't want to say they gave up because I don't think they did. And we've talked about that a couple years ago when they blatantly did against St. John's. Everybody remembers that game, right?
Right.
It wasn't quite like that, but it was definitely like when ODU took control of that game late in the second half, Syracuse had no answer. Tyus hit a 3 one time. It was money, and you thought they had a chance, but you just didn't feel it. You know how when you're watching it, and it's just like you can either feel it or you can't?
Right.
There wasn't like a ton of energy or anything. And, Syracuse, ODU, you mentioned the points in the second half. ODU shot 55.6% in the second half to Syracuse's 28% in the second half. So
either it's the off chance that they had the best half of their life and we played good defense and they just hit everything, or they just came out and played harder. BJ Stith averaged 18 points a game. He had 0 at halftime. He ended up with 18. You look at the stat line, and there's really nothing there that tells you that we shouldn't have been able to win this game. It's just second half effort, really what it comes down to. A couple free throws here and there would have kept us closer, but it's just effort.
That was my computer. Keep going.
It's just effort, and just, the fact of, like what you said, you can't have Brissett taking 6 of his 11 shots from the three-point line. You can't have Howard taking 5 out of his 7 shots from the three-point line. That wasn't them last year, and
no,
that's not going to be them this year.
No,
so they have to figure it out. And again, Frank Howard was hurt all offseason, and they couldn't, play together. They brought some new guys in. Jalen Carey, he hurt the first game of the season as well. So there's going to be some, learning curves and some certain rust for certain people, but it's just, you just never know how long it's going to take. And it's starting to get frustrating at this point, because now we're sitting here at 7-3, and
we're
going against the
non-conference.
good Buffalo team, and ACC plays around the corner. So
you got, our expectations coming into this year. We talked about, it was like the one thing we really talked about that we hammered home in the offseason and leading up to basketball season was that Tyus was going to have help this year, that Tyus wasn't going to have to do everything on his own. He was going to have Brissett. He was going to have Hughes. He was going to have Howard. And this was going to be, 4 solid guys that could score the ball. And you're just not seeing it. Hughes is a consistent scorer. He had one bad game this season. And he's averaging 14 points a game, and he only shot the ball 9 times against ODU. And, he scored 15 points. Some of that was foul shots. But, I just feel like he needs to shoot the ball more. If Howard's not going to step up, if Battle's going to be, or Brissett's going to be hot or cold, depending on, I don't know, depending on, I have no idea. It's like so hit or miss, and it's like not one thing I could put my finger on. But if he's going to be inconsistent, and Hughes is going to be the only consistent player besides Tyus, Hughes needs to shoot more because he's making a lot of these shots. And you always notice, and they did it again, when they get the good ball movement, when they're really moving. And they're not doing that. They're just throwing it around the perimeter, and nothing's going inside, and then 5 seconds left, they chuck something up.
Well, right, and it's tough when you have a guy out there that's just offensively inept. You have someone like Tachuku or Sidibe who just hasn't shown that they can.
Why do you hate Chuku so much? Why,
Joe? Stop it. Oh, stop it. Oh, stop it.
I can't believe that.
Stop it.
Yeah, we got three guys played center against ODU, and between 3 guys, they combined 2 points. Okay?
2 points, 13 rebounds, yeah.
Yeah, well, okay. 3 guys.
No, Dolce offers the best option, but at the end of the day,
he does.
We can't play that size against everybody, We can't shoot 22 of our 48 shots from the 3-point line.
No way. So how did they get inside then? How did they get inside? What do they got to do? Dribble, penetrate, and get inside and draw the foul. Stith did it in the second half. That's what he did. That's how they changed the game. So, I mean, it can be done. If it can be done against our guys, it can be done against anybody else's guys. So, and they said, I think it was Stith that was interviewed that said, well, we knew that they weren't going to be passing the ball to their big men down low.
Right.
So we knew where to be on defense. And they knew we were guard oriented, and they stayed out on the guards and
No, you essentially got 5 people guarding 4 people.
Right, exactly.
With a center they can't do anything.
Right. So
on the offensive end.
And then the foul shots for the last 2 games were 36 of 56 from the line.
And you're leaving a lot of points out there.
Missing 20. Yeah, you only left 20 points out there in the past 2 games. Now, granted, we won one of those games, but it was a nail-biter. So, in Syracuse for the year, shooting, if you believe it or not, shooting 41% from the field. Now, they're 29.7% from behind the arc, and they're still only 68% from the line. So
yeah, we're taking too many threes, and honestly, you're not going to be able to get away with shooting against – you're not going to be able to get away with shooting 34% and giving up 45 points in the second half and expect to win. I mean, that's just that in a nutshell.
Yeah. So
shooting too many threes. We're inefficient on offense, and we played really bad defense on
at home
in the second half.
At home, though, in a non-conference loss against an unranked team, depending on
it's happened before. I've seen them.
Oh, I know. Well, we had, St. Bonaventure last year did it to us.
Right.
But we had a game against Buffalo last year that ended up really helping us out. Now we have an opportunity to really have that be the case again. We could wipe this loss out with a win against 14th-ranked Buffalo.
Well, again, it comes down, you said it. You said expectations. Everyone thought that once Battle came back, then because we made the little Sweet 16 run that it was going to be, But it's too early to judge, and then it comes the overreactions when you lose a game that you might not should have. Like it's happened in the past couple of years. I mean, you turn around and you go on a little 3, 4, 5 game streak and everything's forgotten, and you're just right back in the driver's seat of having a good season. So
yeah, we're not.
Ebbs and flows, games are runs. We talk about it all the time. It's just there's always the overreaction. ODU is not like we talked about. They're a team that you could lose to if you mess around and shoot 34%, and then you want to let them score 45 points in the second half.
Yeah,
and that's what happened.
We warned of it. Some people took them lightly, but I know them well enough because they're about 20 minutes away from me that I knew they were a serious threat. So, anything left to say on the game itself, Joe?
No.
All right. Well, it hurt, and it's a good damn thing that we didn't record this show yesterday because I was apoplectic, to say the least. You're 20 minutes away, so I'm sure you knew a couple people that were... Oh, yeah. It went on for a couple hours. It went on today. I saw some, So, it is what it is. You expect it, and you get... It's just you got to just be like, yeah, and they played a good game, but my friends aren't like that. My friends are a-holes. Okay, so,
go for the jugular, huh?
Yeah, pretty much. So, all right, put ODU behind us. That's it. And what are you going to do?
Nothing else to do.
That's right.
It's time to hear from you. The loudmouths from the Loud House. The best damn college sports fans in the nation.
All right, the universal handle. We've been over this already once today. It is at Cuse Militia on Facebook and Twitter, and what we do is we propose the question after each game. Thoughts on the game is usually what I say. I make it simple because if people got to read a lot of it, they don't say much. So it's like they waste all their energy reading it. So here we go. First, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the poll. I set out a poll this morning. I set it for 9 hours. It finished with 310 votes. And the question is, what do you think will help the Orange more? More Carey, more Mark, more Buddy, or other? And click and comment. So let's do more Buddy came in last at 7%. And I would just say that Buddy on the year is 8 for 43 from the field. That's 18.6%. He's 6 for 29 from 3. That's 20.7%. So I'm going to go ahead and ixnay Buddy out of here. And he came in last, unfortunately. Other click and comment came in next at 11%. And I got a lot of mixed, here, I'll read some of the comments. At JD's dad, 3, a presence in the middle. Yes, obviously. At Big E _228, scoring points. I don't care where they come from. At 44, Syracuse 44. He says we need more Marek, in my opinion. A close second is Carey, but we need some more production from our bigs. Yeah, I agree. At the real Tim Primo, 1, more Carey. Also 1, more Marek. 2, more Howard Washington. What do you think about that? He's the only one that said Howard Washington. So, yeah, I'm not real sure about Howard Washington myself.
No,
but what do you hate Howard Washington, Joe? What you got?
No, I got no problems with Howard Washington. He's a fine player.
Okay. At GQs4, better coaching. At Codit _Jeff, team needs a leader. I do think that Tyus at times gets complacent on leading, and Howard, we've seen, he's on or off too. He leads the offense okay, but yeah, he's got a case there. So anyways, in third place at 40% came more Carey. Now, that was my pick. I think more Carey he's got a lot of energy out there, and I think he adds a lot. Even though he hasn't been able to score a ton, he did have a problem in the beginning of the year with turnovers and stuff like that. But Carey's averaging 19.6 minutes a game, and a lot of that, it seems like a decent amount, but a lot of that came when Howard was out.
Oh yeah, that number's still dropping.
Yeah, that's exactly. And
every game.
Right. So I think more Carey. I think showing Howard the whip, like Dino Babers likes to say. Show him the whip and put Carey in a little bit more. And I think Carey will come into his own. He's a good player, and he's great on the defensive end too. So, and he's not afraid to drive to the basket. I think Frank Howard is still. I think Howard's problem is I think he's healed. I think his problem is that he's scared to take it to the hole because we don't know how he got hurt, but that's probably how he got hurt. So,
if it was an ankle, most likely. Usually that's what happens. It rolls up on something else, usually driving or
right. And so,
coming down on something. So, yeah.
So that leaves us with Marek. He came in at 42% more Marek. And, the center.
He's a fan favorite, man. He's always going to.
Yeah, I know. And he does help. I mean, out of the three that were filling in for center, he did the most. So, I mean, he only scored 2 points. What do you get for rebounds? Let's see, 6. So yeah, he did. He did do the most. 6 rebounds and 2 points.
Yeah.
So I mean, and he's averaging 19.4 minutes a game, and a lot of that also came in when Howard was out as well. So but he probably gets more minutes though. Because of the center situation too. But so there you have it. The fans, they love Marek. They want to see more Marek. And I think that it almost does not matter at the center position.
There's more than one problem.
Yeah, exactly. So, all right, there you have it.
They got to make shit.
Do what?
They got to make baskets.
Yeah, they got to score the ball. Okay, so here we go. Fan feedback, top 10. I did take an even 5 and 5 from Twitter and Facebook, Joe. So at Oil Cuse, our buddy Captain Patrick, he said, why didn't they push the ball up the court with under 3 minutes to go? Frank Howard looks like he's in slow motion. Our centers are awful. So I'll comment on that. What he's talking about is exactly what I was talking about with, I think, Syracuse killing clock on offense with under 3 minutes to go. It made no sense. It looked stupid. It was horrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Joe's.
And nothing from the offense.
Right.
As far as the centers. So
at Kevin McKenzie 11, all this team has done is underperform this year. No one ever goes to the rim or penetrates the lane. Almost every shot we take is contested. 2 centers that are absolutely no threat to pick and roll and can't catch the ball on the rare occasion they are thrown the ball. Well, I don't know. At Kevin McKenzie 11, Joe said that Truku has gotten better at catching the ball. So I don't know.
Compared to what he was doing when he was first year. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, Kevin. I'm not sure. But yeah, our shots are contested a lot, but when they move around and they usually find Hughes open, he can hit those shots. That is key, I think. That's probably one of the big things to scoring some balls. Hughes is probably he's probably he's close to being the first best shooter on that team. He's really close.
Dude, and we just got to get back to where we were last year. I mean, I think Sidibe, obviously he had his surgery, and I think that he's still trying to come back and maybe.
Think he's going through the same thing maybe that Howard is with worried about.
I would like
to
think that they're going to be able to. I mean, as the season went on last year, they got more confident. All of them did.
Sure.
So then they all had their games, but I think what we need is Elijah Hughes is fitting in nicely. What needs to happen is Frank Howard needs to become the Frank Howard of last year, at minimum. And O'Shea Brissett's he's got to get back to himself too. I mean, he was a double machine last year as a freshman, doing
awesome
the things that he was supposed to do. I just don't understand.
I know. If not now, when 84, our buddy Mike, he says ODU's defense was good. What was it, Joe? It was a 5th adjusted defense in the nation, wasn't it? I believe it was, according to Ken Palm. Officiating was effing horrible. There was some times where I thought I could agree. 27th. I'm sorry. Okay.
Still good.
Right. Officiating was effing horrible. I can agree with some of that. Tyus is trying to do too much by himself. Frank can't get his head out of his ass. Our centers still suck. Damn, Mike. Wow. Oh. man, what do you hate, Chuku? What do you hate, Chuku?
Hey.
Where was?
It's, like I said, it's one game. Everyone doesn't, things change from game to game,
Where was Jalen Carey? We look more like a bubble team or less as the season goes on. Get your stuff together, Cuse. Yeah, it was rough. These were right after the game. People were pissed. There's a lot of 4-letter words in here.
Huh.
Oh, gosh, I can't see it.
Oh, here we
We're
go.
just going to call him Matthew. I'm sorry. At something orange. My bad. Garbage. It's like they're determined to become a 3-point shooting perimeter team regardless of past results. Take the damn ball inside. Yes, I'm with you. Matthew.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're all with you. We feel that, definitely. At Free Beers 77, the offense runs no plays at all. There has been zero improvement through 2 seasons. Time for some new blood on coaching staff. Need to shake up the assistants. Get a non-alumni in there.
Good luck, bud.
Yeah, what do you say? That's it? Good luck?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be tough. Now,
Like I said, I mean,
is it the coach? Well, how much? Because there's some more coaching comments, so we can talk about them as they come. But I mean, what do you say to the Boeheim haters? They're all over the place. That's all I heard yesterday from personal friends of mine.
dude, he's done the same thing for however many years he's been coaching. What, almost 40 years?
Yeah, and we heard it at the halftime of the Georgetown game. Remember?
Yeah.
So, yeah,
exactly. He's been doing the same thing for 40 years. It's whether or not the players that he has executes, or he has the players to execute it.
Right.
And and it's just, we always, like I talked about before, overreaction. We always get these after a loss, after game 10, when you never know what's going to happen.
especially
We got
a
them
bad
all
loss, though.
last year too, and look at the end of the year and how that season ended. You know what I mean?
right.
So
Yeah, but especially after a bad loss, I think hey, this is the Cuse Nation podcast. This is the fan's voice right here. This is where you come to vent, right?
I mean,
These comments are right after the game. I talked to you shortly after the game. I was dropping the 4-letter words on it, wasn't I?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not. Look, I'm not saying that you can't be upset, that you can't, but calling for like the coach's job and like assistance. I guess he wasn't calling for Boeheim, but
Yeah,
I don't know.
He specifically called out the coaching staff and need to shake up the assistants, getting non-alums in there because they are all alums. They are.
Man, he likes to work with people that he trusts.
Yeah, I mean, those guys, he recruited all those guys.
Nothing wrong with that.
Steven says, not ready for ACC players. Memo to the Orange. TikTok, you are on the clock. What do you think,
Yep.
Joe?
I think he's right on board. That's why Jim Boeheim last week said that, he challenged Frank Howard, which I thought he was going to be able to step up to the plate. He had a whole week to get ready because he knows that they're not where they're at, and a lot of it has to do with him and getting over whatever the issue is, because he knows that they're not ready for ACC play, and he knew that we were going in against a pretty good ODU team and an even better Buffalo team, to finish out the last 4 games of our non-conference. So, hey, again, tick-tock, we can't play like this in the ACC.
I know it. Now,
And was the sense of urgency with Boeheim, and that's the same thing with that comment there.
yeah, and you just got to think to yourself. Just think to yourself right now. Everybody think and close your eyes and think of this. Unless you're driving, then you think, what would a game against Duke look like right now? Would that, that center they got? What's his name, Joe? Help me out.
Though a center, well, I don't think he's a center, but what, Williamson? Zion Williamson?
Yeah.
The man-child?
The jumper. Who's the jumper? Who's the guy that they showed him at halftime during one of the other games?
Zion Williamson.
Yeah, there you
He
go.
just dunks real hard. Yeah.
Yeah. So, you think of being up against like a Duke or a UNC or even a Virginia Tech right now, and you think, man, they ain't ready. They ain't ready for the big time. They're playing kid ball right
No,
now.
but the effort would be better, too, in that situation, too, because we were playing Duke.
Sure. There's that. So, yeah.
I think that's partly part of our problem, this non-conference, is a lot of times I think we
down
do
to
it
the
anyway, but
competition.
play down to the competition
Yeah.
because we just think we're going to be able to easily, roll through it. So,
Yeah. Herb says there's no chemistry on this team, too much dribbling, no movement. Our center isn't playing well. Herb's playing state the obvious here. On the last comment, no chemistry on the team. You got new guys coming in. That always takes a while, I think, but there is not like a ton of chemistry on the offense. And
No.
we had someone that made a comment about they're not running plays, and they don't really run a ton of plays. They kind of create their own shots, and they're just not doing it.
Well, they do pick and roll. They run guys off picks, and then they kind of rely on, players making plays, for themselves,
Yeah. Paul says a whole lot of words can be used to describe the quality of our performance out on Jim Boeheim Court this afternoon, and virtually none of them can be used in a PG environment such as this. Well, Paul, thanks for respecting the podcast page, but as long as you're not being disrespectful to anybody...
I'm picking up what you're putting down there, buddy.
Yeah, but as long as you're not being disrespectful to someone on the page, I don't care what you say. Well, I take that back.
Whoa. Pump the brakes there, buddy.
I don't care if you use 4-letter words, put it that way. You say what you feel on the page. That's fine as long as you're not being disrespectful. We're good. Jay says, the team didn't show up and the crowd didn't either. We just assumed they would win without trying. It's a good point. It's kind of how it felt. As far as the crowd goes, Joe, the kids weren't there, so...
These are the games that I'm afraid of every year.
Yeah.
I talk about it every year. I mean, it is what it is because I've been at those games.
Yep. So the kids weren't there. It didn't have the energy in the dome that it normally would, and it's just you're right. They never really got loud. I mean, it stunk.
Mm-hmm.
You got that big area, and you fill it with. I guess there was 14,000 or 17,000 there. I can't remember, but it was still a lot of people. But when you compare it to a regular game, anybody's regular game.
Yeah, but everyone's regular game isn't as big as the Carrier Dome.
I know. Well, that's my point, though. You get the people in there, but they're just sitting there twiddling their thumbs like they're on a lunch date. I mean, okay, I guess. So.
Hey, look, I still blame scheduling with kids off. On a Saturday at noon, come on.
Yeah, Tim says Tim is our in-house angry guy. I remember him from last year. He never has anything nice to say. He says time for Boeheim to effing retire.
Ooh.
So, well, I mean, look, I don't think so. Now, some may say that I think there was a comment in here when I was going through that said something about, the players are going to feed off the energy of the coach, and the coach has no energy. Now, there could be some truth to that, I think. If he ain't lighting the... No, you don't think so? No?
We hear these comments every year. Like, I'm just...
Well, you know what, though?
I'm over the overreaction, especially with today's world and just normal media, not even talking about sports. I'm sick of the overreaction. Like, let's just pump the brakes. We're 7-3. Yeah, although your meme about our stay in the top 25 was pretty funny.
The Grandpa Simpson?
Yeah. Good stuff.
And we were tied. We was like a 4-way tie for 25th place in the country.
Yeah, I know. Couldn't even give it to us straight out. It's ridiculous.
I know. So, all right, everybody, thanks for...
So 4-letter words.
You can use them, but I won't say them on the air. That's all.
Like what? Words like tuck?
Tuck, yeah.
Or rule?
Tuck. Rule? Sure. Yeah. Whatever you got. Tuck. Okay. So, all right. I appreciate everybody participating. Everybody was pretty upset. I think there was a ton of comments, and I love it. It's a good problem to have when I've got to sit down and read them all a couple times before I pick which ones I'm going to use. So we appreciate it. All right, Joe. Let's see. What do we got? We got time for redemption. Everybody wants redemption. Syracuse wants redemption for their loss against ODU, and Buffalo wants redemption because they came into the Dome last year, and they lost a close one after scaring us pretty good. They lost 81-74 last year in the Dome, so they want redemption. They're going to come in on this Tuesday at 8 o'clock, December 18th, and both of them want to bounce back. Buffalo from the loss last year and Syracuse from the loss this just yesterday. And the all-time record with Buffalo is sitting at 28-5. Buffalo, that is, sits at, 10-0. So they're killing it.
Yeah.
With a key win, I guess, against West Virginia. They've got 4 guys that are averaging double digits. As a team, they're 40% from the floor, 33.5% from behind the arc, and they're hitting 72.6% of their free throws. The guy who can kill it from anywhere is C.J. Massenberg. He's hitting 48.6% from the field and 42.9% of his threes, and he is 86.7% from the line. Joe, so start with Massenberg and let us know what to expect, because he's probably their best player, right?
Definitely the best player. I mean, he's been a solid mainstay since his freshman year. I mean, he averaged 25 minutes with 11 points per game his freshman year, and it's only gone up from 14 to 14 and a half and 17 last year, 17 this year. He's just, dude, he's tough. He didn't really play that well. Then that's what kind of scares me about him coming in this year. Last year, in the game where we beat them by 7, he only shot 2 of 13. So he didn't play very well. He did go to the free throw line and shoot 9 for 9. He ended up scoring 14 points, but overall he could have done a lot better. So I'm a little worried that he's going to be coming back for blood, my friend.
Yeah, and another year older, another year wiser, and another year better. To be quite honest with you, he's averaging 17 points a game, and he's killing it. He's killing it.
Yeah.
He's even averaging seven rebounds a game. So he's all
in last year's game, the big player for them was Nick Perkins, their senior forward this year, but he had 18.7 rebounds, and again, they ended up having a great year last year. They finished with 27-9. They won the MAC championship, the tournament, and they went in as a number 13 seed, and they actually went and beat Arizona in round 1 before they lost to Kentucky. So this is a really, really dangerous team. They returned a lot of guys, and they got a lot of experience. Got about 4 seniors that play a lot of minutes, and then a couple pretty talented sophomores. So not too tall, but they play within themselves. They average a lot of assists, and they just, again, they're experienced. They know how to play with each other, and not going to be an easy out by any means. So
no, it's going to be quite possibly the toughest game of the year. I mean, really. It's probably one of the best teams. I mean, I know Ohio State, but
I wouldn't put them as being better than Ohio State or Oregon. But
I forgot about Oregon though.
They, I mean, again, in college basketball, if you don't lose, then you don't fall back. You know what I mean? So don't let the rankings fool you. I mean, you can look at their schedule. They had that impressive win in overtime against West Virginia, but West Virginia is a little down this year compared to what they were last year. They had a lot of guys graduate, So other than that, they haven't really played too many good teams. So I'm not trying to take away the fact that they're a good team, because they are a good team. But when you've only played one Power 5 team and the rest of, they had a tough game against San Francisco, only won by 4. So again, I'm not going to take away anything from them, but they've only really had one challenging game. So
yeah, no, I mean that's true, but we saw what they could do last year. And how many returning players did they have from last year?
Oh shoot! I mean, all of them. Okay. I mean, they're missing. They graduated Clark, and I think Kenneth Smart. They're one of their bigger guys. He was a graduate transfer, and I don't know exactly where he transferred, but he doesn't play there this year. So again, they got a 6'10" sophomore. I don't want to say sophomore, but they got a 6'10" guy that comes off the bench that's got a little bit of height. And then they got Nick Perkins. He's a 6'8", I think, forward, and they do have a 6'7" guard that plays as well. But
they go about nine deep, I would say, right?
I mean, you're looking at pretty much. I mean, you don't want to. I mean, at this point, I don't even want to even use height as. I mean, usually height should be an advantage, but for our team this year, it hasn't been. They pretty much have comparable size as ODU, and depending on
hello.
Hey, hi. Sorry. Thought I saw a butterfly. No. It really just comes down to how their main guys, their guards, how they shoot, because they're going to be able to move the ball around. They're not going to make the mistakes. They played the zone last year, so it's not going to be easy. But at the same time, you got to look at the competition they played, and you got to look at they're going to probably be playing against a pretty pissed off Syracuse team. Because I'm going to go ahead and venture to say that the last couple of days of practice probably aren't going to be that nice.
Yeah,
so.
and I mean, how many like bad losses do you have to have, or like bad games do you have to have for this team to just come out on fire? What can motivate them other than a loss like ODU for them to just come out on fire and just let's come out and start strong and finish strong. It is like, all year we've been saying Syracuse is second half team. Syracuse second half team. Well, they played an awful second half against ODU.
I didn't get it. Yeah, like I said, I got to watch the first half, and then I had to go to a birthday party.
You go into the locker room at 10 points up, right?
Oh yeah, 33-23, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, they did have a breakdown at the very end of the first half. They let a 3 go.
3, but still, you're up 10
you're up
at
in
home.
Double digits at home, right? You're thinking, all right.
I honestly left the game. I planned on, I was coming back and watch the rest of it, but I had a birthday party to go to, and I left my house at halftime to go to that birthday party pretty like confident that we were going to win that game.
Yeah. So, well.
And it didn't happen. So.
Yeah.
Because then my phone starts blowing up in my pocket, and I'm like, what is going on? Like,
you had to have known because you were trying to wait, weren't you?
I was trying to wait, but I just assumed, okay, we're up 10, and the way that I thought it was going to go, I didn't think that, there'd be so many, that my phone would have been blowing up because I threw over an expected win after halftime, but then it would blew up, and I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah,
so,
well, you should have known.
And I kind of saw what happened, and then I had to rewatch it after already knowing, which is even harder. So,
all right, so I guess the line will come out tomorrow. Joe will once again tweet the MyBookie pick.
Oh, this scares me, man.
Hopefully he actually makes a pick this time and doesn't just
What do you mean? I thought it was pretty obvious. You
were like, well, if Syracuse does this and this and this, plus.
No, I didn't say if. I kind of threw out what I thought was going to happen, which I was way off, and then I.
Oh, is that what that was?
Put Syracuse minus.
Folks, Joe. He's not like he's like if you were to hand your grandpa a Twitter account and said, "Here, go tweet something." That's
not true.
You said we attack the basket, play good defense, and Howard steps up to coach's challenge SU with negative 10.5. So, yeah,
got that?
Yeah, I got it. Okay, it's a little more clear now. I read it again.
Oh, jeez.
Okay, all right, my bad. Okay. But
I bet you it's going to be pretty close.
Whoa,
I think you'd be surprised.
Oh,
it's going to be funny is I bet you Syracuse is a favorite in this.
Oh, I don't know about that.
No,
I don't. I'll bet you it's close, but I'd be surprised if they were a favorite. I really would.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, whatever I say is probably going to be wrong anyway. So.
Well, how about my bookie pick tonight is that Syracuse is a favorite when the line comes out. How about that?
Well, give me a number then.
I'm not going to give you a number.
Oh, well, Mr. Confidence over here can't give me a number.
I'm not Vegas. I just said favorite.
Okay. All right. I will say not. Just to go against what you're saying because...
it'll be a couple points.
Okay. Well, whatever. You said you weren't going to give points. All right. That's it. Look, Tuesday, 8 o'clock in the Dome. Buffalo comes in. Syracuse needs this game bad. I do not want to go down the stretch finishing off the last half of, not the last half, but the rest of the non-conference, 2-2 after that poll we put out with 2% of you. That could be the smartest 2% of our followers on Twitter that we have. Who knows?
Well, you mean the trolls?
Yeah, Yes, exactly.
Come on.
So, well, we'll see.
Not going to happen.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And thanks again, everybody, for listening. Thanks for participating in the fan feedback. Thanks to Shopping Town Mall Barbershop. Open Tuesday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5:45, and Saturday, 7 a.m. to 2. $15 cuts with 6 full-time barbers. Family-friendly, old-school atmosphere. And you can plop down and watch TV while you're getting your hair cut. What the hell? It doesn't get any better than that unless they hand you a beer, which they don't. So I guess it's as good as you can get. So thank you all for listening. Help spread the word. And for Joe, I'm Sean. We are out. Cue the bells.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Cuse Militia Podcast, the fan's voice with Sean and Joe.